Hello, folks. Welcome back to the program. Merry Christmas. It's December 24th and time to talk about South Africa's Word of the Year. Well, the media are identifying a word as Word of the Year for South Africa, a word that had such impact on the country this year that it's noteworthy, a word that was on the lips of everyone, a word that got everyone's attention. But I'm going to refute that, and I'm going to give you three candidates for this year's Word of the Year for South Africa. South Africa's Word of the Year candidates this year are G20, white genocide, and refugee. Now, which amongst these would you consider the word of the year? Let's start with G20. Frankly, we cannot include G20 because it's not even a word. It's a description. It's not even a word. It's a contraction of the group of 20. So that's not even a word. So that's gone. But the South African media have identified G20 as South Africa's word of the year, trying to imply that it had such a big impact and affected so many people that it was noteworthy. I would dispute that. So since G20 is off the list, what comes next? What are we going to choose? So let's talk about South African media's favorite word, which is white genocide. But of course, white genocide is not a word. It's a phrase. It's actually an adjective. Shouldn't be capitalized. Should be white genocide. Of course, this is a red herring spewed by leftist politicians and the media trying to tarnish others, a phrase they keep repeating, kind of like Bell Pottinger's white monopoly capital. It has no bearing on life whatsoever. So folks, we're going to have to take that one off. So white genocide doesn't count either. So for the word of the year candidates for South Africa, that leaves just 3, 2, and 1. We're down to one word, and that of course is refugee, but not simply refugee, folks, but refugee with quotation marks, as if it's not a real word, refugee. Now, why do we include the quotation marks? Well, quite frankly, because throughout the year, the South African media has repeatedly referred to South African refugees as refugees in quotation marks, which of course is usage in English language in that context to confer that it's not a legitimate term, that they're not real refugees. But in fact, South Africa's refugees meet the standard for international norms for a refugee, as well as U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act of 1980, which grants them refuge based on unjust racial persecution. And now, after the raid on Woodmead, it's also unjust political persecution. So, our winner of the word of the year for South Africa is refugee. Since South Africa's media is so demonically obsessed with the term refugee with quotation marks, we will call it our word of the year. It is the most influential, the most consequential, the most often repeated phrase in South Africa this year, and worthy of note. And there you have it, folks, South Africa's word of the year. It's not G20, that's not a word. It's not white genocide, that's a phrase. It's refugee. What say you, South Africa, Mzansi? Would you agree, or do you have a better word for 2025? Merry Christmas.